Good morning, boys and girls. This is Mr. Keris, and today I'm going to draw with you a set of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teacups. Now, these teacups can be drawn with whatever you have at home. If you have pencil, if you have crayon, if you have texture, if you have oil pastel, if you have paint, whatever you have, we'll make it work. So the key with doing art at home over the next few weeks is to be able to adapt and improvise, because it's not easy to get things at the shops at the moment, and we need to make do with what we have and be grateful for what we have. So if you have a Sharpie, you could use a Sharpie. If you have a connector pen, you could use a connector pen. If it's not black, make do. Use whatever you have. I always do that, and I encourage you to do the same. It's the key of making great art, is using whatever you have around you. So the first thing we're going to do is draw the bottom teacup, and we're going to draw 1, 2, 3 sides and one across the top. We'll do a back to front letter C and a larger one for the handle. And our saucer could come underneath like this. You may like to do another ring around it. Our lines won't be perfect. We'll be adapting as we go. There may be a few mistakes. The next thing we're going to do is make a smaller teacup that fits inside the one underneath. And you may like to experiment with different handle shapes. And now another teacup. This one's going to be more tilted. And I might go a square handle on this one. And another teacup. Could I do a heart, do you think? I'll try. Oh, I think I got away with it. I'll just go over that line. It was a bit messy. There we go. And one more. What handle should I do this time? I've got a heart, a square, a half circle, bit of a full circle. How about a triangle? Oh, it's a bit different. So the next thing I'm going to do is fill my teacups with patterns. And to do this, I'm going to use crayons, because I'd like to finish with oil pastels to colour over the top. So what I'm going to do is use a white crayon or a white pencil. Both are made by wax, and wax will shine through the paper if we put oil pastel over the top, and that's because wax creates a seal on the paper. So if, for example, I did some straight lines, it is very hard to see white crayon on white paper, so you have to pay very careful attention. And if I then got an oil pastel and coloured over it, it's not finished yet. And then if I used my finger or a tissue, I'll use my finger this time, and just smooth over where I coloured, that white wax that I put on the paper originally will still be there. It coated the paper. And I didn't use a lot of oil pastel, so I could go over it again with maybe a different shade of blue. Won't hurt. Blending two colours together is definitely possible. You may be at home right now and not have oil pastels, or a white crayon, or a black texture. But like I said at the beginning, if you've got a lead pencil, or if you've got mum's pen that she writes her grocery list with, whatever, doesn't matter. Just use what you have have a bit of fun. Draw it in your little notebook or draw it on the back of a Kmart catalogue. It just doesn't matter. We're just having some fun. And you could even draw this with sand in the garden or whatever you've got. You can just do some art. It's just a design for you to play with. So a rubber is quite a useful tool when it comes to taking away mistakes, but don't be too fussy about it because we can fix it up at the end. So that was a white crayon that we used. What would happen if we used a white pencil? Well, much the same. Doesn't make a big difference. I suppose the main difference is that the white pencil is a thinner line, whereas the crayon was a thicker line. And because this is a blue teacup, I think I am going to use a light blue first this time to reverse what we did last time. I might add some dark blue at the end. This time I'm just using the side of the crayon, of the pastel, sorry. Using the side, which fills in a space very easily. I can do a bit more in here, doesn't matter. I'll add a little bit more of the darker blue as well. Looks really nice. I like that. And I could grab a tissue, but I won't. I'm just going to use my finger. If it goes off the edges, don't worry. So there we go. We're using crayon or pencil with oil pastel over the top. But if you don't have those materials at home, just make do with what you have. The cool thing about this though is that it doesn't have to be a white one. It can be any colour. So I think I might do orange and yellow this time. I'm trying to go nice and quickly so that this video won't take too long to upload. But if I'm going too quickly for you, remember you can always pause the video or replay it a few times to help you catch up. There we go. And my fingers are a little dirty, so I'm just going to rub them together a little bit to get some of that colour off. If I have blue fingers and I use a yellow oil pastel, it's likely I'll end up with a bit of green. But that's okay. So the orange is still there, and the green is going over the top. And I might use a little bit of orange as well. Why not? Might look interesting. And if you want to smooth that, you just get your finger and quickly warm up the oil from the oil pastel and it melts into the paper. Alright, next. As you can see, I'm not following the plan too much. I always like to be a little bit different, and I encourage you to be different at home too. Don't worry about doing what I'm doing. Stars. Well, this crayon's a little bit finished, I think. Stars. 1, 2. In the bin it goes. Let's get another purple. 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Put some legs there and a head there and a star arm here and a star arm there. Everywhere a star arm, everywhere a star arm. Something like that. There we go. That looks pretty good. How about some pink? A lot of people all went at the same time. No, not pink, Mr. Keris. No. Yes, it's happening. All right, I'm going to colour in there as well. And I'm being a bit lazy. Just rub my fingers together. Should be wiping my hands, so I'm not mixing the colours too much, but I want to be nice and quick. There's a bit of yellow in there, but that's okay. Looks nice. And a little bit more pink. So we're experimenting here with the shapes of the teacups and the patterns on the cups and the colours. So there's a lot of art learning going on. Even though it just seems like an easy, fun activity, there is a lot of art learning going on. Let's do a green one. I'm going to use a pencil to, again, remind you that whatever you have at home, perfectly fine. Doesn't matter if you're even just drawing it with chalk on the driveway, if you're allowed to. I've seen a lot of kids drawing on the driveways at the moment. That looks really cool. And I've seen a lot of teddy bears in windows. Have you seen those? When I've been walking my dog, I've noticed them. All right, should I use this green? Nah, let's go a darker green. Ooh, interesting. If you're lucky enough to have some art supplies at home, experiment with whatever you have. You'll be surprised at what sort of end result you get. I've got some little swirls in there as well. Okay, let me check my fingers. Not too dirty. Smudge, smudge, smudge. You'll notice that I'm holding the paper with my thumb and my fingers with one hand, and I'm smudging with the other hand. That is so I don't tear the paper. If you make any big mistakes, remember, you can just use the rubber. It can fix most things. But we'll go over the background soon anyway. And what colour should we finish with? We've got blue, yellow, pink, green, purple. We've got so many colours. How about red? We haven't got any red. Red is a lot of people's favourite colours. And I think red calls for hearts. That looks great. All different sized ones. Tiny one. And what do you think? Let's just finish it with some red. Red on red, won't see it. We might. Okay, colour that in. And I'll smooth that in. Oh, it's pretty dark. It's a bit very dark, but it might work. There we go. It's not too bad. You could always go over sections that you want to be a bit neater with whatever you have. Moving your paper and adjusting as you go. There you go. That's not too bad. Now, the last thing I'm going to do to finish this artwork is I am going to add some nice swirly shapes using a white pencil to the background. And that could be the white crayon as well. A lot of people have always wondered, why on earth do you need a white pencil or a white crayon? What does that even do? Well, it does this. It can be very useful if you want to colour over it, because it will be there at the end. But it's very hard to see right now. I'm sure you can't see that on the camera. I'm going to smooth my fingers and I'm going to finish with a colour. How about a really nice dark blue? That will look really cool. Wow, isn't that looking great? This is a really lovely picture to give to someone you love. Or if you can't see them right now, you could ask your parent or guardian, carer, to take a picture of your cups and send it to someone that you care about. Wow, I really like that colour. It's a very deep indigo to navy. I'm a big fan. Wow. Okay, I'll colour that bit, and that bit, and this bit. And finally, I could use my fingers, or I could use a tissue, or a cloth if I had one. And I'm just going to smooth all around. And that can take a long time. Don't be afraid to add more though. If it's not quite the result that you're after, just get that oil pastel out again and go over it. Another option is you can get a second colour and do some other colour over the top, and you'll get all different shades and tones going through. So that looks amazing. I'll show you what I mean. I just get some purple. Wow. Cool. That looks lovely, I think. And again, you can just smooth that. The more that's on there, the easier it is to smooth sometimes. Just using my fingers, the pads of my fingers. Oops, went on the teacup. Smudge that off. And I can always put some more red over that later. The materials I've used today are very easy to clean up as well. You just get a cloth and some warm water, you'll be able to clean that up. I like how that purple and indigo are blending together. Those colours go next to each other on the colour wheel, so they blend quite nicely together. And here we go. Here is a teacup artwork, perfect for someone who may be at home and would love a little bit of cheering up, maybe a grandparent or an elderly neighbour, and you could text message them that picture and I'm sure they'd love it. So I'm going to finish with a thank you for watching me, who is Mr. K. And I look forward to making another video with you very soon on one of my favourite pictures to draw. And I hope you're being very safe at home and enjoying yourself and enjoying this time with your family. And hopefully we can do some more art together soon. Goodbye, boys and girls.